Welcome everybody to the seasonal diet, eating what our ancestors ate when they ate it, like we were evolved to do. So we are in the late winter, guys. This is the time where our ancestors really had the most food scarcity. It wasn't the winter so much as the late winter / early spring. There was nothing growing around, winter stores were running low, and we had just turned our livestock out to graze after taking care of them all winter, so it doesn't make much sense to be killing them. So this is the time we have to be really creative with what we eat, just like our ancestors would have done. So even though there is not a lot of meat in the late winter, early spring ancestral diet, there can be a good amount of fish. That's why you find a lot of, even up to this day, some traditional recipes involving fish at this time of year. So we are making some breaded cod. Even if your ancestors didn't live by the ocean, some of the fish would start to be returning into the rivers and lakes, so many of your ancestors would have had access to all of these things here, and all of these things here would be things that would be preserved from the fall or accessible to them at this time. So first, you know what we do. We take the fish and we are going to dip it in the eggs. Eggs, of course, chickens can lay eggs all year round. They do less in the winter, of course, and sometimes stop at all, but by the spring, they are laying eggs again. Eggs are in season. Next, we're making the breading. So you can dig breadcrumbs, whichever ones you want. But what I'm doing here is I'm adding even a little bit of more flavor to it. We're using some onion, some garlic powder, and some paprika. Paprika isn't native to Europe, but they've had it there for quite a long time. But the onion and garlic powder, absolutely, this would have been preserved and still in our ancestors' pantry at this time. We're also adding a little cheese. Again, the animal products like the egg, the cheese, the milk, dairy, yogurts, all those types of things that would have been available to our ancestors at this time, even though not much else was. Mix that all up. You know what to do by now. We're dipping the fish in the egg, then dipping it in the breading, and we're laying it all out to put in the oven. That in for just about 15 minutes at 350 degrees, and you are good to go. What I'm also having with it is a little potato salad. Potatoes, you could argue that they might not be good till this time, but potatoes are preservable for a very long time. Our ancestors could have had some potatoes in the pantry still at this time. Same thing with all the other ingredients in there. The mayonnaise, the cream, the dairy, all that stuff ancestors could make out of milk, which means they would have had access to it at this time. I have two types here, one with mustard and one with just standard potato salad. And also, a little snack on the side, seaweed. Seaweed is not just meant for Japanese ancestral diet. Many cultures around the world have had seaweed in their diet or something similar for a very long time. So that's it, guys. You can be very creative. This is the time our ancestors would have been creative too with what they ate. There is not a lot of fresh ingredients and not a lot of meat either, but like I said, when we use what we have, use whatever is left in the pantry after the winter, we can make some pretty delicious things just like this. So follow along. We'll make a couple more late winter recipes before we get onto the spring, where things get a lot more exciting. But that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed.